What do you at, ladies and gentlemen? Lycos here with another World of Warcraft guide for you. Today's guide is going to be a speed guide, so I'm going to be trying to give you as much information as quickly as possible. It's going to be a beginner's guide today, so it's going to be geared more towards new players and people that are interested in picking up the game. If you are interested in picking up the game, I would advise you to give the trial version a go. You can play up to level 20 with the trial version and try a decent amount of content, get a good feel for it, and figure out whether or not you want to actually get into the game. If you want to purchase the game, it is a subscription-based game, so you're going to be paying $15 a month, but with that $15 a month, you can play up to level 110. The current max level is 120, so you get to play the majority of the game, get a real good feel for it, and decide whether or not you're going to get into in-game content, which in my opinion is the best content in the game. If you do decide that you're going to get the expansion and really get into the game, I'll have a link to the expansion down in the description and a link to game time as well. Now, World of Warcraft is a massively multiplayer game, so it is geared towards group content. I would advise you to get your real life friends or meet some friends in the game and play with them. It is much more enjoyable if you got a few buddies that you can group up with and do content with. Group content like dungeons or group PvP. It like I said, is a much more enjoyable experience if you got some friends to do it with. Now let's get into character creation. First thing you need to think about when you're doing when you're creating a character is which server you want to play on. There's a few things to consider here. If you want to get into role playing, you can play on a role play server. Other than that, there are low population servers, medium population, and high population. I would advise you to probably lean towards more of a medium population or high population, so just so that you got more people that you can do group content with. It's easier to get into guilds, stuff like that. Other than that, if you have friends that play on a particular server, I would definitely go with that server, just so you can play with them and be in their guild and whatnot. That's usually what I do. I have a few friends that play the game, and I always go with the server that I have a few friends on. Getting into the actual character creation. First thing you need to consider is what faction you're going to play as. So there's Horde and Alliance. So as far as that goes, you can check out the races, because you can only be specific races on specific factions. So you have a look at the races that you can play and choose accordingly as far as that goes. Besides that, you might have friends that play on a particular faction, so I would definitely recommend you play on the faction that your friends play on, because that way you can play with them. As far as race goes, I would just advise you to go with whichever race that you like the look of the most. There's a lot to choose from, but as far as picking them for another reason, like say flavor of the month, like whatever you think is going to be the best damage or the best heals or whatever like that, I would definitely recommend you to go more towards a race that you like the look of rather than that, because you'll enjoy playing it more, and usually you end up playing better because you enjoy your race more. Same thing with class. Just pick the class that you like the most. Give them all a try. Whether you like close range melee DPS, long range DPS damage, or if you want to heal, or if you want to tank, give all the classes a try, and just pick whatever you enjoy doing the most. Now, as for the world that you're going to be leveling in, you're going to be questing in, checking out. We'll get into the game here, and I'll give you a small overview of the map and different areas that you'll quest through. It's a pretty large area. Azeroth itself has several different continents and a whole lot of content to play through for sure. Just to give you an idea, this is Stormwind. This is the human capital. It's a fair-sized city, as you can see. But if I go to the map here, here's the city. If I zoom out, it's actually in this province here of Elwyn Forest. So it's actually just a pretty small speck just right up here in the corner. And then you got the whole continent of Eastern Kingdoms. And then if you zoom out even further, you can see the whole world here, several different continents. There's actually other worlds that you can travel to eventually as you're leveling. And yeah, so it's a whole lot of content to enjoy for sure. I wouldn't get discouraged or say daunted by the scale of the world, because the game does a great job of guiding you through the questing and guiding you, telling you where to go once you get to specific levels. Guilds and communities. As I was saying before about playing with your friends and stuff, this is a group content game. There's so much in the game that is more enjoyable with groups, or have to be done with groups. So joining a good guild or a good community will help you out with that. You can join different communities that are geared specifically towards, say, the class that you're playing. If you're playing a paladin, you'd be able to join a community that's paladin. That's a paladin-based community, so that they can help you out as far as skills and whatnot go with your paladin. Other than that, you could join PvP communities or dungeon communities, different things where people are looking for other people to play with, so it'll make it easier for you to get into group content and enjoy that stuff. Guilds are great as well. They're based solely on your server, on your faction, but it's a great way to meet new friends and get into doing group content as well. Alright, so dungeons. Dungeons is one of the group content things that I was talking about. They are 5-man. You have a tank, a healer, and 3 damage dealers. Basically, you go into an instance and you fight mobs, you fight bosses, and get some of the best loot in the game from doing that content. It's a whole lot of fun, especially if you enjoy doing group content with your friends. Battlegrounds is another group content thing. 10v10 right up to 40v40. It's a whole lot of fun, especially if you enjoy player versus player stuff. I would definitely recommend getting into that as well. Now, once you reach max level, that is where the game really takes off. That's where you'll spend the majority of your time in the game if you really get into the game. There's several unique things at max level, such as raids and rated player versus player. So raids are basically like big versions of dungeons. They're larger, takes more time to do them, they're more challenging, bosses are bigger and badder. It takes more coordination in your group, takes larger groups, but it's a whole lot of fun, especially if you enjoy doing challenging content. Mythic dungeons. Once you get the max level, you can play normal dungeons, and then you can move on to heroic dungeons, and then eventually to mythic dungeons, which is the most challenging content as far as dungeons go. And like I said about the raids, if you like challenging content, mythics are definitely a good way to go. You can get some of the best gear from mythics. Same thing with raids. You can go through tiers there as well, get into heroics, get into mythics as far as raids go. If you like challenging PvE content, those are definitely a good way to get into that, and it's a whole lot of fun. Rated player versus player, you've got arenas and you've got rated battlegrounds. So arenas are small, almost like duel type of PvP, where you got 2v2 and 3v3, and so yeah, you just go in, you're pitted against the other team. Whoever comes out on top gets a higher rating, and the higher your rating, the better gear you get from it. Definitely tests your skills quite a bit, and again, as far as challenging, especially PvP content goes, arenas are great. Then the rated battlegrounds, same thing as regular battlegrounds, except you get a rating at the end, so you bring in your own team, and then the team that wins gets a higher rating, and then you get better and better gear through that as well. Now, the only thing left that I want to talk about is collectibles, and that's stuff like mounts, pets. Also, while you're leveling and doing different content, you once you pick up a piece of gear, you actually unlock the look of it, and then you can go to what they call a transmog vendor, and you can transmog your current gear to look like whatever your favorite piece that you've picked up in the past looks like. So that's really cool. There's so much to collect as far as that goes as well. There's also a whole bunch of toys that you can collect that does different cool little things. The pets, some people really enjoy collecting pets in the world. There's different ways to collect them through dungeons and through pet battles and whatnot. And then you can get into pet battles like I just said, and it's almost like a Pokemon kind of thing. So that's a whole lot of fun as well. And then mounts, again, you can get them from dungeons, get them from questing, different ways, and they're really fun to collect as well. Now I got one last little bonus for you guys if you stuck around to the end here, and that's I've got a new player gold making, a small gold making guide. So basically what it is, once you start out, you have no gold. So starting from scratch, from 0 gold, a really good way to earn gold is to get a couple of gathering professions. So get mining and get herbalism, and then you just get out and you gather that as you're leveling up. You will actually get experience from it as well, and putting that on the auction house will really help you in the beginning to gain more and more gold. And then once you actually get, say, 100,000 or a couple 100,000 gold, you can look into crafting and get yourself a crafting profession, then craft more, put that on the auction house, make more and more, and then that'll eventually lead you into getting a real good amount of gold, say 500,000-600,000, and then you can move on to doing auction house things like buying and selling. You can also go out and try and get different rare items, like rare transmog items and rare pets, stuff like that. Put those on the auction house as well. You can make more gold from that. So that's just a quick overview of how you can make gold. But definitely, when you're starting from scratch, pick up a couple gathering professions. Do that as you're leveling. It'll help you level a little quicker, and it'll also help you make a decent amount of gold as you're leveling as well. So that is it for the guide, guys. If I missed anything, if there's any experienced players watching this that want to add anything to the guide, feel free to add comments down below. If any new players have any extra questions, feel free to ask me that down in the comments. I will definitely get back to you for sure. Thanks for watching, guys. You can check out me on Twitch if you want. I'll put the link to that down in the description as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll check you in the next video. Bye, guys.